week or so, having some scheduling issues and all of that. So I hope y'all forgive us. And then we're going to take off for a couple weeks for the holidays. So let's get into it. We're talking volleyball, football, women's basketball, men's basketball. Stick with us. Oh, like, share, and subscribe. And we do chapters on platforms. Hit us up.
Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode's sponsor, BetterHelp, you do. You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, religion, and more to pair you with the person who works best for you. And if the person isn't exactly who you were wanting, you're not stuck. You can switch counselors. BetterHelp strives to offer affordable, professional, and accessible online therapy. So go to betterhelp.com/redout today to save 10%. By doing this, you not only support us, you can work toward a brighter, healthier you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode.
Amen.
Yes, we are. Sorry about that.
Did you mute yourself while you were muting me?
I did mute myself. Well, I do that so that when I go back into post on the ad reads and stuff like that, it doesn't have like an echo, because sometimes it doesn't echo. For those of you wondering what's going on in the background. So, yeah, how's your last couple weeks been?
Oh man, it's been crazy. Grinding at it, getting the Medicare stuff done. I'm an insurance agent, so got done with Medicare December 7th. So it's a relief. It's crazy this year. So it's been kind of crazy trying to get us to run the podcast during the fall. So sorry to all the listeners out there.
No, it's all good.
Making that living, getting that green.
That's right. Hey, and you got to do what you got to do. So no worries there.
Now, how's the body count, Devin?
Now, first off, I am not made for the streets. I'm just going to make that clear right now. But anyway, no, yeah, just working, man. It's all part of it. We have some interesting people sometimes, is all I'll say. Okay. So,
care to share any drama lately?
Nothing I'd want to talk about on the air. So, volleyball. Let's get into some volleyball news. Volleyball, sadly, we will not be having a volleyball episode this year. But what did you tell me? It was the 8th straight year WKU made it into the round of 32?
Oh, you just know it.
There? Okay.
I think on the phone when we were talking before the show, I said the 37th, but I was being sarcastic.
I thought you was throwing out some real fact. I was like, okay, sure.
No, man. But, I mean, we've made, and I can look it up here and probably tell you just a little bit.
I can tell you that Paige Briggs has made, 5? I'll have to look through my notes. Okay, she's obviously 68-0 in regular season. And then, where is that? I made a note of that. How many? I think it's 5 births, if I'm not mistaken. 5 postseason births, but I might be wrong.
Oh yeah. She's been. I feel like it's every year.
Oh yeah, she would have. Duh. Okay. Yeah, that duh. Okay. I've got a lot of awards to talk about for basically her, and there's some other young ladies who have done some amazing stuff for volleyball. So I don't want to leave them out. So I'm going to kind of hit this really quickly. But obviously WKU fell to Tennessee. They beat Coastal Carolina, and then they fell to Tennessee in the round of 32. Then, of course, Paige Briggs, 5th-year senior for WKU, is going to be graduating, she's also earned several awards. She earned the American Volleyball Coaches Association All-American Third Team. She was also first team in the South region for the American Volleyball Coaches Association, and she also was fifth all region in. She also got the fifth. It was her fifth all region in her career, so she also got the fifth region for that award as well. She received the Conference USA Alyssa Kavanaugh Player of the Year award for the first time for her. Let's see. I'm skimming my notes because I've got like almost a page typed up of all the stuff she's gotten. She also earned first team all conference honors and all tournament MVP, as she is now the only player in league history to earn 5 first team all conference honors. Wow. She closed her season with 457 total kills, and she had a .329 hitting clip. Now, that is the second highest in the nation from any player who took 1,000 plus swings. I don't know if that's just a WKU throwing that stat out there, or if that's, pretty cool. I mean, somebody doing 1,000 plus swings is really cool, but, it's just like,
like what we've talked
kind of
about
weird
a little
that
bit.
you would just throw that out there.
I mean, when you hit, it's kind of like baseball. If you hit above 300, you're doing really well. Well, she's hitting almost 330. So,
she's doing really amazing. She is third all time in career kills at Western with 1,838. She is third all time in career service aces with 181. She is second all time in career attempts with 4,455. That's about as many times as I asked girls out in college. She has played in 155 matches on the hill. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game at that point. She has played in 155 matches on the hill. That is the most of any player, I'm assuming, at Western, because that was on WKU Sports. She has the most tournament berths and regular season career wins at 68-0. She is the 29th All-American for WKU, and she was drafted on Monday in the inaugural season of the Pro Volleyball Federation. She will now be playing for the Omaha Supernovas, which I'm going to have to try and hunt down some merch for the Supernovas. Hey, I am all for supporting Lady Tops just as much as men. And apparently this is their inaugural season. I don't know, like, where else there's teams. I mean, as bad as that sounds, but I'll have to look into it to see. We may be talking some Supernovas coming up. I don't know what they're scheduled.
We have to include them in the Pro Tops section.
I know, right? We'll have to get on some of the Towrack there and be like, Alex, you got to start watching volleyball too, dude.
Dude, it's amazing. This is complete sidebar, but it's amazing how much women's volleyball, especially as a sport, has grown. Like, it really is starting to become more of a mainstream sport. Like, for the first time this year, the national championships on ABC, which is a big deal because, like they're going to have huge exposure. And they had that match this year that there was like 92,000 people at the Nebraska game. Did you hear about that one?
No, I didn't.
They had 92,000 people at a volleyball match.
So do they
Nebraska's stadium, their football stadium?
So do they move? So I feel like this would be like a Western thing. Okay, so they're gonna like start the match and diddle, and then they go, "Oh crap, we've got to move it. There's too many people." Or is this something they were like, we got all these ticket spots, so we know we got to move this.
No, it was like they made a big to do that they wanted to set a record for the most attendance and whatever, and they were going to put it in the stadium. They wanted to sell out their stadium. Well, they sold out their stadium for a women's volleyball match in Lincoln, Nebraska.
You've been to Nebraska with football, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't know. Of course, that doesn't seem like a big stat to me. The reason I say that is because if you've been to Nebraska, there ain't shit to do there. It's just porn. Sorry. Language.
You make valid points. However,
dude, we stayed in, I think, what is it? Nebraska's in Lincoln, I think. or it's Omaha. Yeah, I can't remember. Vice versa.
It's Lincoln, Nebraska is where the University.
But if I remember right, we stayed in Omaha, Nebraska, and we drove to Lincoln. And I remember like the entire time, like there was no scenery. It was just cornfields. And I was like, because like normally I like look out the window, listen to music, and I'm just like riding along, and I'm like corn, and it was like, oh my gosh, I'm done looking at this. But yeah, so she'll be playing in Omaha for the Supernovas.
I mean, we always make lewd comments about perverts and stuff. Maybe in theory, there are just a lot of perverts in Nebraska. Maybe that's why they were watching women's volleyball. I mean, 90,000 perverts all came into one stadium to watch some women's volleyball.
Did you get a message from your group or something, or what?
Yeah, the Trench Coats Anonymous group me.
So
there was a lot of chatter that night.
So she did graduate this past May with a degree in visual studies and earned a leadership studies certificate in her 5th year of eligibility. And she also was on the WKU president's list every semester of her career. So
good for her, man. I mean, she's such a good story, and it seems like such a good person and all that stuff, and just really happy for her, and I hope she does well in the pros because she's a true Hilltopper legend. I was looking, we were talking about how many years in a row that we've made the round of 32 in volleyball. It's actually every year that she's been here.
So 5.
5. And then 2018, we didn't make it the year before she got here. So she comes here every single year and goes to the round of 32 or better because we went to the Sweet 16 one year. So just an incredible career.
She is from Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. I saw that in another Orangeville, Michigan native. So,
yep.
Congratulations. Really happy for her. I'm hoping that, the Pro Volleyball Federation takes off. I'm hoping that there is a lot of, support there for that. I mean, like you said, 92,000 people in Nebraska, so that could be something cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Googling Pro Volleyball Federation, which, by the way, wouldn't Pro Football Federation be so cool?
Yeah.
Be like WWF back in the day. Let's see here. The first match I have on here is Wednesday, January 24th, Omaha, Nebraska. The Atlanta Vibe versus the Omaha Supernovas.
There we go. Let's crush the Vibe.
So I don't want to make fun of this league, but the logos look like those that are on Facebook for people who are trying to make logos.
Oh,
and the one I want to make fun of the most is the Grand Rapids Rise. It's like a phoenix bird holding on to the rise. It's kind of funny. Just look it up, guys. It's really funny. But the Supernovas actually looks kind of cool. I may see if I can find some shirts for my daughter or something. She won't have any idea what it is, but they're going to play all the way through May 12th is the Supernova schedule. And they got their own website. Oh, and her picture's on here. How funny. That was the first thing that popped up when I looked is Paige's picture popped up.
Well, cool. They must be.
Three Supernova draft picks are an All-American honors. So,
well, there you go.
Trying to see if they've got. Oh, here we go. Got a store. Whoop. Paige not found. Seriously, trying to support y'all, and you got nothing.
They got to get that off the ground, bro.
Custom apparel. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
So anyway, can we go back to volleyball? I mean, I'm excited about the future of Western volleyball. Like, obviously, we lose Paige Briggs, and we lose a couple other seniors that have been important. But honestly, we have a ton of young people coming back, and some really big bodies too. Like, one thing about this year was that, like, Izzy Van de Willy, she's a freshman. She's 6'5". She's 6'5".
Yeah, I was going to say I could never say that. So
yeah, and then Logan Gravengold.
You sounded like Sanford when you said that. Just so you know,
Gravengold, bro. Anyway, so she's a redshirt freshman too, 6'3".
Wow.
Lots of big, tall bodies that we haven't necessarily had at WKU. We've always had athletic girls that kind of go on the radar, but we're finally starting to get some real legit, like Power 5 body type girls that can really make an impact and help us take the next step. So I'm excited. There's only a couple girls that graduate, and we'll see how they pan out. But could be another good year next year. Could be even better. This year's team was so balanced. Like Paige was not the person on the team. There were other people that contributed plenty. And so there are lots of young stars on this team. So it's really exciting.
Well, I really don't want to. I don't want to sound like a stalker here, but they keep saying it throughout the different things I'm reading about her. And she's 5'10".
Yeah,
Paige was 5'10", which, by the way, I mean, like you said, there's a 6'3" and a 6'5" young lady playing for the Hilltoppers now. So, I mean, apparently we're just going up. So,
yeah, well, perfect example. Kaylee Cox is a junior outside hitter. She's 6'3". Well, she's going to take a bigger role next year versus Paige, who's a great athlete, but only 5'10". Some of your other girls that are outside hitters are just a little bit bigger. So, 6'3", 5'11", whatever. You get the idea.
So do you think? This is going to sound random, and don't take any offense to this if any young ladies are listening. But as a woman at 6'3", does she marry a short king, or does she look for taller? Because I feel like the pool there is kind of low. Just saying.
Oh, Devin.
I'm just saying. Like, she's 6'3". Like, you cannot tell me that there is like, average height of men in America, don't ask me why I know this, is 5'9". I'm actually taller than that, just so you know. But, like over 6'3" is like a very small percentage. So that's just kind of funny to me.
I mean, it's fair, but I mean, you know what? I think you need to get a little inclusion in your life, Devin. And
on average, women do not go for shorter men. I for short men, yes, I would agree. That
some of these girls are beautiful, man. Like, who cares how tall they are?
They're very beautiful young women.
You're crazy if you care.
I'm not saying maybe I care. It's just interesting to me.
Maybe I'm biased.
Curious.
Maybe I'm biased at 6'3". I'm good with 6'3". Whatever.
Hey, I honestly, like, I don't think in college I would have cared. I don't know if I would have cared in college. Like, if one of the volleyball girls had even, like, looked my way, I probably would have been like, oh. And then on the outside you'd be like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah,
this is making me think. There was this is real random. On Amazing Race, there was this black couple, and he was like short, like Kevin Hart short, and then she's like 6'4", basketball star, whatever. But he's like this little tiny dude, and then she's like this gigantic. I mean, she's way taller than 6 feet. It was hilarious.
I just want to see, in that scenario, I want to see her like pack him like a piggyback ride. That would be funny for me.
There were a few times that happened. He was her little backpack.
That's awesome. And like, I would as a guy, I would hate that. You know,
but you just gotta embrace it, man. Own it.
You do. You're right. You have to own it at that point, because you're just like, you know, hey, it's gonna help. People are gonna laugh about this. It'll be funny. Okay, that'll be cool. I wonder how much wonder what her contract's worth for the Omaha Supernovas while we're talking about them. I mean, it's just,
I'm sure it's peanuts.
Well, I mean,
surely
I mean, I don't know anything about this league, so I don't know what a league minimum would be. However, I mean, it would probably be less than like WNBA, right?
Oh Lord, yes. I mean, they're probably making I don't know, 15, 20 grand for the season. I mean, I don't know, but surely there's not that much money in a first year league for volleyball. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there
I don't
is,
either.
but I
It's
wouldn't think.
just some random thoughts. I know they're very random, but hey, honestly, I am very happy for Miss Briggs. I hope she has a very illustrious career with the Professional Volleyball League and Omaha. The Omaha Supernovas. Like I said, whenever they get their store up, I am going to definitely try and find some stuff for my daughter. They've got a really cool color scheme. It is purple and looks like pink or something. Novas. There we go.
Well, that makes sense. Kind of like
it's like a purple. It's kind of like a kind of like a galaxy theme ish. It kind of let me see if I can. It is What did I do with it? Where's the logo? Yeah, it's kind of like a purple, blue, pink color. I mean, it's really pretty. It'd be really cool. I think. I don't know how this league's going to do, but I'm hoping it's more of not an XFL, AFL situation. So, just saying, just throwing that out there. Let's move on into football. Western is going to be playing. We've got a bowl game. It's the Toastery Bowl. By the way, I hate that. Just so you know.
You do? Okay.
Well, the name of the bowl. The name of the bowl is what makes me go ugh.
And what makes me go ugh is the payout. Good Lord.
Well,
150,000 is like.
Speaking of, I wanted to talk about this last week, and we kind of ran into some scheduling issues.
Yes.
Who are your 4 teams that you would have had in the college football playoff?
Oh, absolutely leave Alabama out. I mean, and not because I dislike them or, wish that they would quit getting into the playoff all the time. But, like, what is the purpose of the games if you don't play them and win them? I mean,
yes.
That drives me crazy. Alabama lost to Texas, so obviously I think Texas should have edged Alabama. And then I think that Florida State should have been in. Like, what was it their fault that a couple of teams in the ACC were a little down and their SOS was slightly, actually it was quite significantly less, but they went undefeated in a power conference. Like, what else are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
And here's what pisses me off about this. I'm glad you brought this up. Here's what pisses me off. Okay. The reasoning is because the quarterback was injured. Like,
that's not a good reason.
No, what it tells you is they put that in the rules so they could make sure they have a good money grab in case there's a situation like this where somebody's going to be significantly hampered. I'd rather find out if they do well than have Alabama be in there again and probably going to end up winning it. And we'll never know if FSU could have overcome the loss of their quarterback. You'll never know that. And that frustrates me. What did they do wrong?
Well, here's my thing. This is a personal thing. This isn't anything, college football analytically. This time of year, and especially with Alabama going to the playoffs, how many times have you heard Alabama Roll Tide? I wish Alabama would get beaten by 85 points this year by whoever they play. And I have no doubt, and by the way, Michigan's reaction to playing Alabama in the first round is a very big indicator as to how that game's going to go. Have you seen that clip?
No.
Okay. They've got Alabama's football team. I'm assuming someone on staff is recording, and they're like, I don't even remember the name of it. I don't care the name of the bowl, but anyway, in such and such bowl, we have Michigan versus Alabama, and the team goes, right? You go, really? Oh no. Yeah. Like, for me, I go, oh no. Oh no. This is not going to go well, especially if y'all are going, oh.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So,
I hadn't seen it, man. I have a job.
I saw it on TikTok. So there you go.
Dude, by the way, all those TikTok messages you sent me, I have not opened one. The one you sent me like one a day for like a year and a half or some crap, and I'm probably in October of last year. Just so you know, I'm actually looking at all those.
Just so you know, if it's a black screen, it was really freaking hilarious. They've taken it down. So just so you know.
Yeah, I know some of them are so outdated, they're just gone.
Yeah. Or they were taken down because they were too offensive. But, it's whatever.
Right. Some of yours have been.
Most of them probably have. The Famous Toastery Bowl. It's going to be on ESPN Plus. That is on the 18th, which is next.
Oh, it's on ESPN. Give it some credit. It's on the ESPN.
Well, it's on ESPN's website. It says ESPN/ESPN Plus. So evidently they're going to stream it. It's next Monday, 2:30 p.m. So those of you who are retired or in a different time zone, I guess you get to watch it while the rest of us just follow the score while we're at work. I'm not salty at all. Anyway.
I thought about going, but like everything leads to this is stupid. Don't do that.
I mean, honestly, what I'm hoping for is not what happened 2 or 3 years ago against ODU, where we had that very strange series of events that was like, what the ever-loving is going on here?
Was that the regular season game at
yes, at Western, where we lost, yes.
That was Sanford, wasn't it?
That was
a Sanford special, I think.
It was. I think it was a Sanford game because, and the reason I say that is because there was no time on the clock. I think there was a pass interference. Penalty. Yeah, there was some penalty that gave us a shot, and then we had a penalty, which gave them a shot at a field goal, and it just went horribly. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm hoping is not going to happen. And I'm hoping that with a month of practice, the guys are doing pretty good. What are your thoughts?
One thing that Helton's done a good job of is bowl prep. I mean, every single time we've come out under his leadership and have looked like a much improved teams for the most part. I do believe he lost one bowl game, which was in.
Was that Central Michigan or something? The Bahamas Bowl or
he lost to Georgia State. Oh yeah, Georgia State in 2020 was a nightmare. They just basically kind of just mailed it in.
Which I'm hoping is not going to happen here.
But what I'm concerned about is in this year's version, it's been a disappointing year. You've got tons of people that were already injured anyway. But then you also have the biggest news. I assume you saw this, but Austin Reed is not going to play. And he's prepping for the NFL, and he's going to the East-West Shrine game and whatever. So he's skipping the bowl game. I believe Corley is going to play, but there's like a long list of guys that are assumed to not be playing that are in the transfer portal. So you're going to be shorthanded. It's going to be interesting to see if we can handle that adversity and just go out there and win anyway. And I think it's really, really crucial for the program to get this win because I feel like, and I was going to talk about this last week when we had to cancel because I think it was important to kind of frame how people were feeling about this season. But I think it's really important for this season to be any kind of remotely respectable outcome. You need to win the bowl game or people are going to lose their mind when we lose the Dominion. I think.
I don't know. And
they're just going to completely ignore it and then be like, oh, well, and we move on. But it's just like a huge blight.
I think it is a black mark. I think it is a black mark for sure. I don't know if I necessarily would say that people are going to disconnect and do all that stuff. But I think if you do lose this bowl game, of course, it's a bowl game for one thing. So a lot of people have already moved on to basketball. But that's the thing too, is how much of this game is people moving on and how much of this game is people hypothetically, if we lose, how much of this is people just going, and then just being more melancholy than actual upset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's one of those where let's just hypothetically say again that you have this horrible thing that you have to go through, for months and months and months, and then you somehow manage to pull off a winning season of 7-5, and there you are.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, big picture, I think we should give them credit for.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so many bad things that happened roster wise.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of believe that Austin Reed was even banged up some. There was a lot of speculation about whether he had a bad knee and maybe even a bad shoulder. And then also Donut and like the top 7 receivers at one point, especially early in the year, and some of the other linemen and linebackers. There were some secondary guys that never played that would have started. I mean, there was so much that went wrong, and they still did go 7-5. So, I mean, we should give them credit, but it's also frustrating because you look at that and you still see kind of the mismanagement, the lack of chemistry within the coaching staff, and the connection to the players, and you see all these pieces that just didn't come together. But I really feel like, I mean, especially looking at ODU, like they had 6 extremely close wins to even get here, including a 10-9 win against Texas A&M University Commerce. 10-9. I mean, that was one of their wins that got them here. None of their wins were by more than 7 points, and they had several blowout losses. And so they are clearly a team that we probably still should beat, even if we're shorthanded. I still think that we probably should win anyway. And I hope we go out there with the players that we do have and show people that we're still a force even without some of our major weapons.
Vegas currently has us. So I was just typing up. So Vegas currently has us favored. Well, let me say, sorry. ESPN has us favored analytically. However, Vegas's spread has it at 2.5, favoring ODU.
Which is fair. I mean,
technically it's fair. Technically it's fair. I'm assuming they're making ODU the quote home team. I don't know that for certain. But that usually they give the home team 3. And of course, the money line.
That's a true line.
The money line is -135 for ODU, even though they're favored. So I don't know. Makes no sense to me. The spread is over under 54.5. Do you think that's possible?
Was a 54.5?
54.5 total points.
Let me look at their stats. I haven't looked at anything on ODU, really, to be honest. I have not had time.
I hear you.
Let's see. 22
sounds bad, but everybody is kissing James Madison's rear in that conference. So, I mean, it's understandable to an extent, but
okay, I would say, I mean, honestly, the under could be a play here. I mean, you're losing a lot of firepower, and ODU is not a strong offensive team.
Yeah. I was going to say Western is definitely losing.
I can see the under.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, possibility of Western not doing it. I mean, that's definitely there. Especially on the Western side. I don't know about ODU.
Yeah.
One more time?
Well, I mean, if we come out and lay an egg,
if
we come out and lay an egg, obviously that's almost certainly an under play. So there's a decent chance that we just don't do anything with a backup quarterback. That's completely possible. Also, ODU, they only average 22 points a game themselves. So are we really expecting them to really kind of score above their average and WKU to score their average with a backup quarterback? Like, if I'm betting on something, I might look at the under for sure.
And with a lot of the players not playing, as you said, I don't want to sound bad, but Austin Reed, and even announcers would say this throughout the year, that Austin Reed was carrying the team. I don't know where he'll end up in the draft. However, if I was someone who wanted to put money on Western ODU, I would wait until the game started and try and do a live bet. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, just kind of get a feel for it.
If you're, hypothetically, ODU wants the ball first, they go down the field and score. The money line's going to change, and that may get into your favor for you to place a bet for Western. Do I think Western could win overall? Probably, as long as everybody's healthy on defense, and depending on who our quarterback is.
Yeah.
Those are factors that are playing into it. Elijah Young is pardon my French, damn good running back. Dude's a good running back. We've got a lot of other guys. LT Sanders behind him. And you said Malachi Corley's going to be playing receiver, so there's another target. We got River. He's going to I'm assuming, playing. Like you said, there's so many people who are transferring out. I don't know who to say is going to play and who is not. But with
speculation.
I will say Liberty did beat us and ODU. Mm-hmm. They played ODU 2 weeks after we played them on the 24th of October. They played ODU on Veterans Day, so 11-11, and we lost 42-29, and that was because we had 18 points in the fourth, 18 or 19 or something ridiculous, and ODU lost 38-10. So that is a good game.
35-3 at halftime.
Let's see, we were down. What was that? Oh my gosh. You got to make me look this one up because I do not remember the score of that one. I don't remember what we were at halftime. So let's see. Box score. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. It was 14-10. That's horrible. It was 14-10, and then they scored one more touchdown in the third. And we both did a drag race in the fourth quarter. It was a barn burner in the fourth quarter. So they scored 21, we scored 19. So yeah, that's it's still a hard game to judge based off of that, but I do not. My daughter's taking a bath right now, so if you hear a thump, 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 that's her doing God knows what in the tub. So Matt, I do not know. This is going to be another aside, so just get used to it. Have you ever been on Team U?
Here we go.
You ever been on Team U? TEMU. It is like a Chinese AliExpress site. No. It's first off, you should check it out. There's some decent stuff on there. I would recommend checking out in PayPal though, or something, instead of using straight your credit card. But just be safe in case there is some kind of fraud issues. But it's something to check out. Check it out.
What name are you talking about?
It's like an Amazon or something. You've never heard of it? But it's got cheap crap you can buy. Just download it. You got an iPhone. Go to TeamU.
What are you talking about? In case there's fraud or something. What am I getting into? I have no context for what you're talking about.
TeamU is like a Amazon or something for Chinese people. Okay.
Tell you what, why don't you have them sponsor the next episode, and then we can learn more about them.
I wish. Okay. I am going to forward this to you. You want
free crap? Come get it.
No, it's not free, but you can get some cheap shit on here. Seriously.
You want cheap?
My wife is buying all the... Okay, so the reason I say that, the reason I had to tell that part is my wife. My wife sent a... she got a shower head attachment for my daughter's bathtub on our upstairs.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Have you installed it yet?" And I was like, "No, I haven't installed it." So I go and install this thing while my daughter's in the bathtub. So I'm like, climbing on the side of the tub and taking stuff off, putting stuff on, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. So I hook it up, and it's got an on-off switch on the little shower head. So I just hit off, and it's got a switch at the top so you can change it from the shower to the handheld. And the thought process is I will change this, and then I'll fix it where my daughter can just put her head under the shower, and if I need to take it off, I can do it and do whatever. So I turned it off, and I turned the shower on, and the shower was on for about 0.3 seconds, and all of a sudden there's a thump, and all the water starts running down the hose of this thing.
Oh.
And I was like, oh crap, it busted. I'm like, I do a lot of the plumbing work in the house, so I was like, what happened? The water is running down the hose of this handheld shower thing. So, I get done. I told my wife, I said, that hose busted. I was like, where did you get that? Did you order that off Temu? And she's like, yeah.
Oh, God.
So that's what you can expect. I told her, I said, so today I had to go to Lowe's, and I bought another hose to change out the old hose for that one. So I'm hoping it'll be okay. And then I told my wife, I said, okay, I imagine what's going to happen in like the next 2 to 3 weeks is I'm going to basically change out all the parts from the Temu crap to stuff that I have to go find at Lowe's or some plumbing store somewhere. So that's my little aside on that story. But
okay, man. Sorry, I had no context to make you look good on that one. I had no clue what you were talking about, man.
Just go on there and look at some of this stuff. Don't do any of the coupon crap because they will blow you up. Don't turn on notifications. They will blow you up like 24/7 on all this junk. You've got a coupon for blah, blah, blah. And you'll be like, oh, man, I can get 90% off on something that costs $6. Oh, this will be great.
Yeah, that'd
just
be
check
60
it out.
cents.
My wife has gotten some pretty good deals on some decent stuff there. So
okay, I will
just check it out. Just check it out, and you'll be pissed at me later because I've got you spending all this money on junk. But it's decent stuff. Some of it you just got to look at it.
This just feels like a straight up Lower Scottsville, Northern Adolphus type of feel. All the way through.
It's dollar store crap, okay? But it's cheaper than the dollar store. Just check it out. It's not bad.
I'll tell you what.
Okay. So, let's slide into women's basketball real quick. All right, man. I will let you take it. It's been a little bit since we talked women's basketball. What have we missed so far?
Well, the Lady Tops overall were they 6-5? Yeah, 6-5. So the last few games, let's see, when was the last time we did a podcast?
It was before Oregon State.
Before Oregon State, yep. Okay. So, yeah, they had just dropped a 13-point loss to IPFW in Estero, Florida at the Gulf Coast Showcase. So, since then, they have lost a couple games.
A little bit of a skid.
Yeah. So 6-5. Before last we spoke, they were 6-3. They had just dropped that IPFW loss, which wasn't, in hindsight, it's not that big of a disaster. But still, it was kind of like it wasn't the best showing. I want to see how they're doing this year. Let's see, IPFW. They are 7-3, so they're a decent team, and so it's not a complete and utter disaster that we lost to that team. But anyway, since then we went to Oregon State, which obviously you don't really go way out west to a Power 5 school and just expect to even really be competitive necessarily. And we really weren't. It was 76-52 at Oregon State. And so you just kind of flush that and use experience against a bigger team. Oregon State's usually huge, and a lot of times you don't match up well with teams that are really big. And then WKU went to Ball State. Actually, Ball State came here, and we still lost 59-67. And that's more of a little bit of a head scratcher. Ball State is a quality team as well. Let's see. They are just 1 second. Let me pull up their stuff here. They're 7-2 as well. So they've lost to UConn and Notre Dame were the only 2 losses. They don't have any other like super high quality wins, but they've played 2 ranked teams and gotten blown out by those 2. But still, there were some mysterious moments in the Ball State game. Like, for example, one thing that stood out to me Sorry, I had somebody calling me.
It's like I lost you there for a second. No,
yeah,
you're good.
It cuts off my audio when somebody calls anyway. And I've always got clients calling. So anyway, so Ball State is up like 8 with like 47 seconds left, 44 seconds, something like that. And WKU they have a full shot clock, and WKU decides not to foul.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, this is the only option if you want to win this game is to foul. You can't let them run 25 seconds off the clock and have the clock be down under 20 seconds when they take a shot to possibly take a 10-point lead. You can't do that. And so it was almost like we just kind of mailed it in. And it was just an odd response. It's just kind of like, oh, whatever. We've got a break. Let's just move on, you know? And so I think what I feel like the hardcore Lady Topper fans are kind of wondering is, okay, we're 6-5. We've played a tougher schedule. It's not like we've played this awful schedule. We've played some ranked teams. We've played some Power Fives. You know, we played some quality teams that went to the tournament within the last few years. But there's a tendency of this team to like get off to a really slow start, or to not be able to rebound at all, or your bigs can't stay out of foul trouble. Every single time there's like a little something that's like, come on guys, like we gotta give ourselves a chance here. And Ball State was a perfect example. They got up 20, it was like 20-8 or something like that, and 18 of those 20 points were threes. I mean, they were just raining it in from everywhere. Some of that is just like, okay, they just came out hot, and what are you going to do? But also, you have to come out and combat that, especially at home. Like, you can't let somebody come in and just stomp you into the turf and then hang on for the rest of the game. Like, there really wasn't much of a chance to come back because they dug such a hole in the beginning of the game. And so it's kind of like, in my opinion, on the Lady Toppers side of things, are we getting into the same Collins thing where he's in his 6th year at this point? It's kind of like the Stansbury question where, like, he took over a way better situation than Stansbury did. Good Lord. Stansbury took over a disaster. He took over a champion, and he hasn't won yet in 5.5 years. At some point, we've got to start asking, is he ever going to win a Conference USA championship? And you've got Rick Inbred at Mississippi State, the little elf that keeps winning all these championships, and his team is probably going to be ranked at some point this year. They were ranked last year. And you competed. You know, it wasn't shameful. But again, at some point you got to make your move and you got to overcome it. And this year you've got the roster that I think you probably could. And we're not seeing anything different from any of the other years where you're about 500 heading into conference play. You're probably going to be 2nd or 3rd or 4th in the conference, and then you're going to have to hope that you get an easy road to the finals like you did last year, and then hope that you can basically beat middle at that point. So we're kind of in the same spot, and it's it's kind of creeping in the questions. We play Abilene Christian December 18th, which is Monday. And that's in Diddle. And then we play Nevada, Missouri State, then West Virginia State, and then we get into conference play. So 3 tough games coming in here. We could easily be 6 and 8. I mean, at maybe 7 and 8 heading into conference play if we drop all 3 of those games. So at that point, you're probably going to have some people starting to get frustrated with waiting on Collins to finally pull through. And so I think it's fair to start questioning what's going on. Are we going to pull us together? Are we going to see what we're supposed to see, or is it going to be some of the same old crap where we maybe sort of flirt with 20 wins and we maybe get to the WNIT because they have 64 teams in it?
Yeah. I mean, if you're, let's just hypothetically say, if you are AD, do you want an NIT bid, or for the women, do you want an NIT bid, or do you just say we're good? If you're facing in that bad of a situation.
Well, I mean, I think I always think it's foolish to turn down a chance to play in the postseason. Personally,
I was like, does it depend on what you go to, or
I mean, the WNIT is different than the men's because the men, you have 32 teams and you have 64 in the WNIT. So basically, the top 120 something teams are going to be playing basketball. So it's a lot different. It's a lot easier to get in the WNIT, and it's a lot easier to win games.
Yeah.
And so, personally, honestly, Collins has saved his job with the WNIT a few times because there have been a few times that it's like, yeah, he's about to face some heat, and then he goes to the Sweet 16 of the WNIT with Sydney Bop banging in threes from way outside, and she goes off for 25 or 30 points, and we end up winning. But otherwise, if he would have lost that first game or something, he would have been in way more trouble than he was that year. And so, I think if you're a Lady Topper fan, I think it's fair to question what's going to happen with Collins. At some point, it's time to win. It's time to break through. And in my opinion, this year, if we're not like toe-to-toe with Middle in the championship game or winning, it's time to be upset and possibly consider moving on. I'm not quite there yet, but it's like we've got to be his seat better be piping hot if he's not in the tournament this year or right on the doorstep.
I was gonna say, calling for another hit already. Oh,
everybody freak out. I mean, 6 years in. When are we? This is Lady Topper basketball. We got 3 Final Fours. He took over a team that was winning championships. What's the excuse that you can't pull out one in 6 years?
I mean, I feel like Matt is a shark and he smells blood in the water. Started with Stanford, then it went to Stansbury.
I've been running coaches out of here for years. It's my duty.
Then we're going to go to volleyball. Watch out, Travis Hudson. You have a bad year. Matt's going to be coming after you.
We will tear down your statue that I've been calling for you. As soon as you don't win 25 games, brother.
You're out of here on your ass.
I see you running out here on my road out here in the Plano Richmond area. I will do something.
Oh, my goodness. Let's hit up men's basketball real quick. Talk a little about men's basketball.
Yes, please. They're actually
so when good. Was the what was the last game we talked about? Was that Campbellsville or was it before that?
Hold on, buddy.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been so long.
I know.
Actually, I guess I could just pull up my. Let me see if I can mute it.
It'd be the end of November, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't had a chance to pull up my stuff. I apologize, y'all. Let's see. December 9th, December 3rd. Yeah, Campbellsville would have been the last one. So
Okay. No, you're good. I just need to know where. I just need to hit my notes so I get. I'll make sure I get my notes.
So yeah, really nice win on December 3rd against Eastern. Tops pretty well controlled that game, and Eastern obviously Cozart was back, which. it makes you laugh. How not laugh? It kind of makes you. I don't know. I mean, it's so frustrating watching him be so successful. He had 7 blocks against us, 8 rebounds. He had 5 points. It wasn't his best offensive game, but I mean, Cozart has been a force for Eastern since he got there, and really happy for him. But dadgummit, why couldn't we have used him? Anyway,
I said that when he came here. You can look back on the Tower stuff, and we were talking about new recruits, and he was coming in as a freshman. I can't remember where he came from, but specifically. But
he was over Eastern. He's from Kentucky. I think he's kind of Eastern Kentucky. He's pretty close to home now.
I think you're right, but I was talking about how he could step in and be maybe not Bassey 2.0, but Bassey 1.1 or 1.2. But you can check that article out. Yeah, I definitely called it back in the day that he was going to be a good kid for us, and evidently that didn't happen because whatever. So
yeah, so I misspoke a little bit. Eastern was ahead most of the first half, but WKU in the second half absolutely clamped down on Eastern. They couldn't do anything.
That's great,
and it was really nice to see. I mean, they absolutely could not breathe. Western has a lot of athleticism, and they wear people down with that intense pressure, and it's really starting to develop. So that Eastern win was the second in a row, I believe. Yeah, and then we went and played Buffalo, which a lot of people see Buffalo and they're thinking, "Oh, Buffalo's a pretty good MAC team. They've been in the tournament, several of the last few years. They are absolutely terrible this year, but they are awful. I think they have like 1 or 2 wins, and really not a good team. But when you go on the road, you go way up north on a random road trip, and it's cold and whatever. You have plenty of reasons to not be ready to go. And we came out and took care of business, had a big lead, ended up winning by. Say what? Say what?
Oh, you just. I guess it was your connection because you just kind of cut out there for a second. But you're fine.
Oh, okay. I don't know what y'all heard, but anyway, Buffalo. You could easily come out and really lay an egg or not really put out a great effort. But I thought we came out and took charge and ended up with a pretty big lead. And at the end of the game, we kind of let it slip where they got back in and it was within the teens. It won 82-65, but honestly, a double-digit win on the road, and the non-conference, that is a check in the box. That's a great performance, and you got to be happy with it.
Yeah.
Especially when Rodney Howard has been coming off of injury and hasn't been starting just yet. That was one big thing about the Eastern win was I don't believe he played in that game, and you win pretty much going away in the second half without your starting center. So,
wow.
It's nice to see. And then Wright State was an interesting matchup because I looked at this and I was listening to the pregame on the radio, and Coach Lutz was talking about how they have these big guys, and I'm like, uh-oh. Like Rodney Howard's still kind of recovering. We also don't have a consistent big man that can shut people down. We have Babacar, who can rebound like crazy, but he's also kind of erratic. He'll miss shots. He'll end up injuring himself just about every game because he's throwing his body around. I mean, our big guys are a little bit unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyrone Marshall is a little undersized but super athletic and a matchup problem. But is he going to perform in a big game or in a big moment when we probably need some scoring from the post? And what happened? We ended up winning 91-84, so huge ton of points scored. Wright State was on as well, and Don McHenry throws in 30 points. They couldn't stop him. He was shooting threes. He was taking it straight to the basket. He could do whatever he wanted. And also Tyrone Marshall, I think he was close to 20. I think he got 20 points.
Wow.
which was a really nice clutch performance in the right moment where we needed some post presence. And in 27 minutes, he goes 8 for 14, makes a 3, makes his free throws, 7 rebounds, a couple blocks, a couple steals. He gets 20 points. I mean, he filled up the stat sheet just like you kind of want to see him do. And it was really nice to see. This was a quality opponent. Like, this is a team that will they have a guy that dropped in 34 points, and we handled them pretty easily. It was a close game and everything, but we pretty much were in control the whole time, even though this guy's going off for 34. He's a beast. They have big guys down low that we kept under control. We made their lives difficult. And ultimately, guys stepped up. Christian Lander was awesome. He shot 60%, scored 15 points, got 6 rebounds.
Did you say Christian Leitner? What?
No, UK fan. I said that boy from Indiana.
Larry Bird, right.
Yep. He the trash talk was incredible.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. But those 3 guys, Don McHenry, Tyrone Marshall, and Christian Lander, really stepped up. And then you did have some other guys contribute, but nobody else scored more than 5 points. So it was just really nice to see. They stepped up and got it done on the road in a legit road game, a legit environment where people cared and the crowd was engaged and all that stuff. And they got it done and really pretty much controlled it and were able to win it with offense and some toughness. And so really on a high heading into Austin P. Tops play Austin P on Saturday. No, they play on – when do they play? Do they play Saturday?
16th. Yeah, that's Saturday because Monday's the 18th.
I apologize. Yeah, because I'm going to have to miss because my girls have cheerleading.
What?
Yes. In Franklin, Tennessee, like at noon. So anyway, we'll play Austin P. Tops are 8-3. They haven't played the toughest schedule ever, but they have done a good job. They had that kind of flub in the Northern Classic in Canada where they lost to Canisius and UNC Asheville, but they have screwed up to get to 8-3 in their first year with Steve Lutz. I mean, that is about as good as you possibly could have hoped.
Yeah. Honestly, you really can't fault Western for as far as this part of the season. We'll see how it is once we get back in January after the holiday break here. But, Lutz, like we were talking about, we've been talking about since he kind of took the reins. He has gotten these dudes in shape, and I think that is part of what has helped Western to start dominating is the overall endurance and being able to keep the pressure up without running out of juice. And that's, I think that's what Western was missing with your buddy Stansberry. Maybe we were just not getting the having enough juice to get us into the let me see, how am I trying to word this? Where Stansberry wanted 5 guys to play the entire time with a possible 6 playing like a 30-second spot at the end of a game. Those dudes were not able to go the distance. And we always thought it was that Stansberry should have included more players. Maybe he should have just run them. Maybe he should have just got the dudes in better conditioning shape. I don't know. I wasn't in there. Wasn't behind the scenes. I don't know what was going on. Maybe some of our listeners are able to comment on that off the record, but, I don't know. Maybe we can get some of these old players in here to talk about it. I don't know. But, it'll be exciting to see how things are going to come around with the wrap up of the, the non-conference schedule here. And then once we start conference, we'll be back to talk more about that come January. We will be back specifically, so you all know, the the week of the 10th, we will be back. That way, after the holiday season, we'll be back then to talk more Western sports. So we will not get a chance to talk about Liberty, but we will be back to be right in the middle of the Sam Houston game while we're recording. So we'll get to talk about that a little bit as we're recording that one. So maybe we can record earlier that day. We'll just see how things work out for you for us behind the scenes, Matt. Okay.
All right, bud.
Well, I wish your girls luck in their cheerleading competition. I'm not making fun. I'm serious, because behind the scenes, with sports, we actually did have some kids that were dropped, some athletes that were dropped that were cheerleaders that had to do some rehab in the training room. So those tumblers, I don't know if your girls are tumblers or tossers. I don't know if that's the technical name.
Basically, it's just it's not too dangerous right now. They're basically kind of standing on, they're like a couple feet off the ground. So they're.
I was like, they stand on their feet.
Right, they do stand on their feet. They do some.
Oh, that's great, good to hear. Glad they can do that.
It's really cute. It's just kind of funny, but yeah, they're getting after it. So
that's great. That's great. I have no doubt that your children are great cheerleaders.
Yeah, apparently they hate it though. So,
oh my God,
Riley told my wife sometime this last week. She goes, "I really hate cheerleading."
Oh my God, that's
they're actually interested in basketball. So we were.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we went to the Foundry. They had an event, and the basketball team was there, and my daughter was like in there with these big kids trying to shoot on the big goal, and
wow.
She was airballing the crap out of that ball, but she just kept going. And it's a 10-foot goal, right? So she's 5, right? So but she just kept going, and she was like all over it, and she loved it and wasn't even scared.
I don't want to cut you off, but I was just thinking about. I'm just thinking about that. Do you remember that old? Was it a car commercial or something where the kid's like throwing the ball to the dad, and the dad's like, "Nice try, son. Good job." And the kid, like, every time he would throw it, he'd like flick his heel up in the air or something kind of awkward.
Oh.
And you thought, well, that's weird. Just watching it, you're like, that's weird. And then the dad threw it back and he did the same thing. Like, I'm picturing you going out there and you're like, Riley, you're doing good, sweetie. And then you take the ball and you're like, ugh, air ball. And you're like, nice try, sweetie. Nice try. You'll get it.
Yeah, that does sound like me. No, but Devin, have you ever seen me play basketball? I'm not awful.
I'm sure you're not bad. You're over 6 foot, so you've got some advantage.
I could always shoot. I just, can't dribble.
That
was always an obstacle.
I was like Karl Malone. I was the postman. That's where I played.
There you go.
So that's what I would do back in the day.
Bro,
I wasn't a big shooter, so
I averaged 9 points on our 0-11 church league team.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Man. Yeah, everybody else was clanking it off the top of the backboard. I was getting them rim.
There you go. See, my grandfather back in the day was around 6 foot, and he played center for Allen County. That's before Allen County and Scottsville became one school, right. Hence Allen County Scottsville. But yeah, he was always upset when I got to around middle school aged and I stopped playing basketball and just played football exclusively because he wanted me to play basketball. But that's a little history on my part. But yes, so like I said, we've got some Western games to watch out for. Like Matt said, Austin, the next game to watch for is Western. Football is going to be playing against ODU, and I did not put that in the show notes, but it is going to be December 18th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central. I just cringe at this because, how many of us are working throughout the day and aren't able to turn the TV on to watch the freaking game? Anyway, ODU's favored 2.5. Then the next games to watch for will be Western's girls playing December 20th against Nevada, 21st against Missouri State, 29th against Western Virginia State, and then they will start conference play on the 6th against Liberty at 2 p.m. And then we go to the men's side of things. Men are going to be playing 16th against Austin Peay at 3 p.m. 19th against, is that California Baptist?
Yeah, Cal Baptist.
Cal Baptist,
Yep.
December 19th, 10 p.m. Late game for us East Coast people, 9 p.m. Central. And then Abilene Christian, 3 p.m. on December 30th. And then they will also be playing Liberty Biberty on January 6th at 7 p.m. So check those games out. I will try to include those in the show notes for YouTube, so you can watch, kind of check those out and follow along when you'd like. We will be back, like I said, January 10th. We'll record our next game, our next podcast. So I want to wish everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you may celebrate. Merry Christmas.
Happy Merry Christmas, Hana Kwanzaa, right?
There, exactly. And Happy New Year to you all. We appreciate our listeners. If you made it this far, like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate your support. Go to betterhelp.com. You support us there. You can go to Patreon, yada, yada, yada. It's been a great year. Appreciate all of you very much. Thank you, Matt. It's been difficult with Jared leaving. I am still coping. But it's been great.
Should we leave Jared with his final thoughts?
Yes. We should definitely leave Jared with his final
thoughts.
Let's
turn it over to Jared. Ready? Okay, Jared, go ahead, buddy. We'd like to hear from you.
Man of simple taste right there.
Yeah.
I mean, simple
words.
taste. Very few words. It was great. But yes, thank you all. Appreciate you, Matt, for stepping up this year and helping us out on the podcast.
Yeah,
and being able to basically become a permanent co-host there. And, taking over social media, it really helps. And it's always fun to kind of give, Zaxby's grief because they suck. So, but other than that, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and as always, go Tops.
Go Tops. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, PC bud. Thank you.
All right.
Peace out. 8-pound down, bud.
Y'all already know.
Have a good one. See ya.
Okay, bye.